Welcome to the Addison podcast, where we talk about what it actually takes to hit your first six or multi-six figures in business. I'm Addison, certified clinical hypnotherapist and online business coach for entrepreneurs. And 3 years ago, I decided that nursing wasn't for me, dropped out of nursing school, and dove into the online space. From free hypnosis audios to unfiltered conversations and business advice, this is the space for you to take radical responsibility towards creating your dream business. Let's dive in. Okay, friends, welcome back to the podcast. Today we are going to talk about what to do when you outgrow your family and friends' beliefs and views about money. This is a kind of spicy topic, and it is something that I feel like we need to talk about more in the online space. And I actually had this come directly from a podcast listener that sent me some recommendations for the podcast. And so I'm super excited to dive into this because this is something I talk about all the time with the subconscious mind. So this is actually one of the top limiting beliefs people have, and that is a fear around outgrowing those around them. So we actually subconsciously, because if we think back to caveman times or times before, this current place that we are at in business, it was actually in our best interest to have a pack mentality. It was in our best interest to not stray from the pack, not do something different. We wanted to always be liked because that required was required for safety. And so now we're kind of wired to not like uncertainty. We're wired to not like any sort of difference or uncomfortability. And so as we're outgrowing those around us, or as we're doing bigger and better things or creating more success than those around us, it can be really uncomfortable because we can have this fear that people are going to leave us, or that we're going to lose friends or family, or people are going to think that we're bad or whatever if we do actually outgrow them, or if we do create more. When in reality, 99% of the time, the people that love us are going to be supportive no matter what we create. And just a simple conversation can clear this up. So this specific block is actually an upper limit, and upper limit is a term that is coined by Gay Hendricks in his book, The Big Leap. So if you have not read that yet, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you read that as an entrepreneur. And basically in each area of our lives, there is a perceived cap we put on how much career, success, wealth, love, happiness, health, etc., that we are worthy of creating for ourselves, or that we will allow ourselves to have. And so once things begin to exceed that level, or that familiarity or that limit, our subconscious minds begin to create this level of self-sabotage for us around ourselves in order to bring us back to a place of familiarity or our comfort zone. So this idea that we can outgrow people as we're growing can actually be one of these upper limits where we're like, we only perceive that this level of safety or abundance or money is safe. And so anything outside of that, like, we're going to self-sabotage because that could mean that people will leave us. And so if you've ever wondered why you aren't moving forward, or you're plateaued no matter how much work you seem to put in, or you advance 1 month and then you kind of defer back to that familiarity and that comfortability, it's not your fault. It's your asshole subconscious mind. And we, again, as humans, are evolutionary honed in to resist our own progress. We want to create familiarity, even if that discomfort will improve our lives, even if it means that more success equals more happiness, right? Like, comfort does not necessarily mean like it's always good. That's just where we are evolutionarily designed to stay. This is why, corporate jobs for people work so well. This is why, even through school, things are always the same, right? We're doing the same things every single day, 9 to 5. And that's what we like. We like that comfortability. And so if you feel like you've been on the precipice of a new level, but not quite there yet, this is for you, because this could be one of the things that is holding you back. So basically, the way that the subconscious mind works is we see a perceived threat of, and I'm just going to, read out what could be happening in the subconscious mind. My family and friends believe money is bad, so therefore I'm going to be bad if I make more. They think the coaching industry is fake, bad, or maybe it's an MLM, so they're judging me. My family and friends judge my big dreams and desires. They think they're silly or stupid because they never have these big dreams or desires. What if when I make a certain amount of money or gain fame or gain followers, people judge me, or they dislike me, or they think, again, like I'm bad? And what if my partner doesn't accept or feel supportive of my big dreams? And so reminder that this all happens subconsciously. This is not consciously. It's not always a conscious thought of like, people are going to hate me if I create this success. It's happening subconsciously because we're wired to create this like pack mentality, to stay the same, to stay comfortable. And so this can actually end up sabotaging your next level in business, your next level success. And basically in our lives, we will resist greater and greater levels of success. We'll resist that next level of income. We'll resist, our business growing because maybe the $10,000 months you're at right now is comfy and that just feels good, right? And so identifying this and making a conscious decision to move through it can be the difference between you making, $5K months and $50,000 months. Because when we identify this, we're allowed to change, or we give ourselves permission to change the way that we're showing up and the way that we view this fear and doing something about it instead of resisting our success, right? So also, I just want to say, this is a side note, but I want you to give yourself some slack for this. A lot of times we can feel a lot of shame for resisting our success, or we're like frustrated because we're like, why is this so hard for me? And because your brain is wired for safety and certainty, change and growth is going to be unfamiliar and scary. And so I don't want you to shame yourself for this. Your brain is doing exactly what it's meant to do, which is to protect you. And so there can almost be this level of like, I'm giving myself permission to thank my brain for doing this work, but also, I'm going to remind it that it's safe for me to grow as well too. So I don't want you to shame yourself for this. You're literally going against the grain of what you're meant to do as a human, which is create safety and comfort, right? But growth doesn't come from comfort. So you might know that you have this particular block when what you want remains just a little bit out of reach or feels a little bit scary. Or you can taste it, like you can almost taste it and touch it. You can see it, but it's just not quite there yet. Or you've had it happen before, like you've created, let's say like a $20,000 month, you've had it happen before, but it shocked your nervous system. It shocked your mind. It felt so, maybe unsafe and scary. And so you reverted right back to 10 or, $5,000 months or whatever. And business still feels like kind of challenging for you. So I'm going to talk about how to move through this because you can move through this and just change the way that you view this block so easily. It's actually really simple. And I just want to remind you that the people in your life that are truly like your people, that are your friends, your family, that are like 100% backing and supporting you and are just like, see you as this great person that deserves success and deserves and is worthy of money and all the things which you are. You're worthy of such a beautiful life. They are not going to judge you or leave you if you do certain things, because money doesn't change you. Success doesn't change you. It only amplifies who you already are. So if you are an amazing person already and you have your family and friends and your clients' biggest interest in mind or greatest interest in mind, like you want them to succeed, you want them to create great results, you have this desire to impact, the money and the success is only going to amplify that. It's only going to create more impact. It's only going to create more success. It's only going to create more of you, of who you're being, right? It's not the thought that like money is bad or rich people are bad is really, it's just amplifying an already bad person or an already terrible person. So I want you to remember that. And, also just remember that it's just going to amplify and impact more people. So it's almost a disservice to resist your success because you're impacting less people and your services are killer and that it changes lives. So we want you to impact people, right? So number one, I want you to identify the block, the upper limit, or the fear. So whatever it is, right? Like if you've identified, okay, I have a fear that I'm going to outgrow my family, outgrow my friends, and I think they might leave me. That's you've identified an upper limit. You've identified a subconscious block, right? So you have this fear of success. At a baseline, this is a fear of success. You're fearful of what success brings for you, right? So once we've identified that, we can take a moment and let's just practice some gratitude. Let's take a moment and let's just be thankful for everything that we've created and how far our mind has gotten us here and how far our bodies have gotten us here and how much work we've done and how accomplished we are. Let's just take a moment for gratitude. So you can set a regular habit to do this, whether you do gratitude journaling or you take a moment every day. Maybe you put a reminder in your phone that's like practice gratitude and you say 5 things you're grateful for, or it's just something that you do consistently, or even in hypnosis, you take a moment of gratitude, right? So I want you to do that because I think we can get so caught up in the why am I not growing that we forget to recognize how far we've come, what we've created, how amazing we are. And so that can go so far because it allows us to see beyond what we haven't created yet, right? And then I want you to address this fear. So I want you to address whatever block or fear or, whatever's coming up, a little exposure therapy, if you may. And I want you to get uncomfortable and have the conversations that you need to have to address this fear. So with this block specifically, I'll give you an example. When I started dating my fiance, which we're actually getting married in 99 days today, which is crazy that we have crossed below 100 days mark. I'm so excited. That's a whole other tangent, but we just crossed the 99-day mark. So I was super excited when I saw that this morning. But with my fiance, I remember very specifically, this was a fear that I had because I've had men in the past tell me that I am intimidating because of the level of success I want to create, or men that have been intimidated by the amount of money I make because they want to be the breadwinner or whatever. And that's so silly to me, but it's been an experience that I've had. I'm like, shouldn't you think it's cool that your person wants to be successful and push themselves forward? But whatever. To each their own, right? So I've had men tell me this in the past and have expressed fears to me that me making more money makes them feel less than, which to me that's a them problem, not a me problem. And so when I started dating my fiance and I recognized very early on, actually texted some of my friends after our first date and said, this is the person that I'm going to marry. I had this fear come up where I was like, oh my gosh, he doesn't know a lot about my business. What if he knows I'm launching this podcast in January? What if, I let him know that I want to desire to scale my business in this way, or this is the big vision. What if that's too much for him? What if the social media aspect is too much? What if, the podcast and where I desire to take the podcast is too much, right? So I had this fear of do I need to dim down my light in order to be okay with this person? And instead of letting that affect my level of success or letting that affect our relationship, we actually went on a date. And I think this was the night he asked me to be his girlfriend. And we were just sitting at a bar and having conversation. And I said, hey, I just have a quick question for you. This is where I see my business going. And I know we've had conversations about marriage. We had planned at that point to get engaged early 2024. And so I just basically said, this is where I see my business going. These are my big visions. This is where I want to take the podcast. This is what I see, eventually my revenue growing to in my business. This is what I, see my impact being. This is where I want to take it. This is what I've been working towards. How would you feel about this? And this was such a pivotal moment for me because I've never done this in any relationship before. But, he expressed some concerns that he had maybe around things in the future. For example, he was yeah, I think that's amazing. I love that, you have all of this drive, but something that's really important to me is that when we have kids, I'm really fearful of my kids being on social media. So I would never want to be in the position where I would have to tell you, don't show our kids, or we'd, put our kids in jeopardy or their safety in jeopardy. Right. And that opened up this conversation for me to say, you know what, I wouldn't want to put my kids on social media anyways. I wouldn't want to put their faces there. Sure, I might talk about them. I might, have that be a part of my brand, but I wouldn't want their faces to be there anyway. So it opened up this really beautiful conversation for him to express his fears and for me to, have that conversation. And we actually realized that we're on the same page. He enjoys that, I'm super driven and that I, never settle for less, right? Because that's how he is as well too. So it allows us to be this power couple. But instead of me, sitting with that feeling and being ooh, do I need to dim down my light? Ooh, should I not launch the podcast? Because these fears will affect the level of action that you take in your business. It will affect the way that you show up, the way that you market, the way that you, move in your business. And so instead of letting that, because I know those thoughts will then create action, I just had the conversation. I had the hard conversation, and it actually turned into being this really amazing conversation that brought us closer together and made us realize that we're both on the same page with things that we want and things we desire. And all of his fears were things that I was able to really quickly and easily address. And it turns out that we're actually on the same page. And so I want you guys to address this fear. I want you to get uncomfortable and have those conversations, because growth does not come from a place of comfortability. So we're going to get uncomfortable and have those conversations and address the fear in whatever way you need to. And so in this case, maybe you chat with family, maybe you chat with friends, maybe you share your fears, maybe you share the hopes and aspirations and see how they respond. And you have those conversations and you express like, hey, this is something that's been coming up for me. How do you feel about this level of success? This is what I want to create. I just want to open up this conversation. And if they don't support you, then I'm sorry, guys, like, bye. Like, we only want people in our lives that support us. It's fine if they have fears, but like for me, I want open-minded people in my life that see my success as like a permission slip for them to do the same, that see my success as like, holy shit, she did it, I can do it too. Or see my success and say, that's not for me, but like, I love that for you. I love that you're doing that, right? Like those are the friends and the family members and the people that I want in my life. So if people don't accept that, then that's kind of your, gives you permission, or that gives you the ability to make a decision on like, okay, then is this something I want to share with them? Or do I really care about their opinion enough to let that change my levels of success, or let that change, how I view my own success, right? So we can come back to like that conviction and belief in yourself. The fourth thing I want you to do when this is coming up for you is visualization or hypnosis. So we can move through this sphere of success and hypnosis really, really fast, a couple sessions, and you will see changes very, very fast. But you can also do visualization yourself if you are feeling this fear a lot and you're like, hypnosis is something I'm going to do, but let me just start somewhere right now. So I want you to visualize what you desire with feeling as if it's already occurred, so that we can start to get our mind on board with basically preparing ourselves mentally and emotionally to accept the wins that we want, to feel safe accepting the wins that we want, right? So the way that you can do this is you can either in visualization, which I'm going to walk you through how to do that in just a minute, but you're going to directly instruct your subconscious mind to accept what you want to create and tell yourself that it is safe to create that, and the people around you are going to love you and accept you and love it regardless, and that it's safe for you to create success, it's safe for you to create more, and it's safe for you to want more as well too. So that's something that you can bring into this visualization, and this is what I would do with you on a deeper level. I would identify where this block is coming from. Obviously, I already said it's a fear of success, but going even deeper than that, what's the root cause? We would move through it in either timeline therapy, an NLP technique really quickly, or we would use hypnosis to move through this as well too. I think something that is really important to remember is that fears like this are going to come up at different levels, and it's not bad to have a fear. What's bad is to allow that fear to dictate how you move in your business, or the action that you take, or how quickly you move, right? So as long as this is coming up and you're able to regulate out of it and say, you know what, this isn't even true. This isn't even something that's going to happen. This is like not something that is even a true fear, and you're able to take action to the contrary, then you're good to go, right? But hypnosis can help us move through it if we're not even sure what is stunting our success. And so when it comes to visualization, I'm just going to walk you through like a really quick rundown of how to do this. First, you would, like in a hypnosis session, relax your entire body so you can do a body scan. You could even pull up like a YouTube video of body scan to help you relax into that space. Then you would want to do some sort of nervous system regulation technique, or technique to get you into the rest and digest part of your nervous system. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can stimulate your vagus nerve by stretching your neck. You can do some rubbing underneath your collarbone that also stimulates your vagus nerve. Or you can, I do this in a lot of my hypnosis sessions that are on the podcast. You can look up, roll your eyes to the back of your head with your eyes closed, and then release them. You can obviously keep your eyes open too if you want, but this will also help you regulate your nervous system to get even deeper into that relaxed state. Then what I want you to do is to visualize the thing that you want as if it's already happened. So I do this in a lot of sessions as well too on the podcast. You're welcome to find them. But I'll have you visualize what it is that you want as if it's already happened. So not like seeing it come through to fruition, like it's already happened. How do you feel that it's done? So for example, when I do this with like selling at a mastermind, I'll imagine myself like, mastermind's already done. We've closed the cart. I'm on the Zoom screen with those like 10 girls on the Zoom screen, and I'm like just getting to support them and serve them. And I feel so excited that I get to do that, right? So that's a great example. Or, you already see that money in your account, in your Stripe account, or in your bank account, or, there's so many different ways you can do this, but make it as vivid as possible. The more vivid, the more powerful the visualization. And then lastly, what you would do is you would attach an emotion to it. So an emotion of abundance or excitement or pride or confidence, whatever it is, whatever emotion you can attach to this vision and amplify it in your body. Feel into that emotion and amplify it. If you're not good at visualization, this will take some practice. So you want to keep coming back to it, but your mind is like a muscle. So we can get better and better with time with visualization. And then you would basically just count yourself out of it, or, wake yourself up or go to sleep after that. But that's a great way to visualize. And then the last part of this is I want you to take action. So if you're fearful, if the fearful part of you that's like, people are going to leave me if I'm successful, is causing you to not market yourself or show up as powerfully as you could, or not start the podcast or not start the TikTok because you're afraid people are going to see it or whatever, I want you to do the exact opposite. I want you to ask yourself, okay, and I always use $20,000 months as like the benchmark of what people want, but let's say $20,000 months are what you want. I want you to ask yourself how that version of you would be showing up. So how would she be taking care of her health, herself, her mind? How would she be showing up? What platforms would she be on? What would her product suite look like? And I want you to start taking that action. And if you don't know, then this is when you hire mentors. This is when you get people in your corner like me that can help you hold yourself to that vision and that standard and say, this is what you desire to create. This is the path and the action that you need to take to get there, right? And I think that my coaching is so valuable. You will literally never come into my space and not see shifts, because we do both the subconscious and that action, the strategic, work together. And so we see results 10 times faster, right? So my challenge to you is to have those tough conversations this week. Get curious about where and how this block is surfacing in your life, and maybe take one small action step to get 5% better to move through this, to raise this upper limit by about 5%. So you can move through this fear of success and create what it is that you want in your life. And if you're like, Addison, okay, but I don't even know where to start, I feel a little bit overwhelmed and I want those $20,000 months, then my coaching is where it's at. I want you to send me a DM on Instagram or have a conversation with me on Instagram. We can even start small with a mindset audit, which are going to be raising the price here pretty soon. They're $44 right now. By the time you listen to this, they could be $88. So don't hold me to that, but we can start there. We can also start with hypnosis or just with the mindset audit, and then I can help you get into the right offer that is for you. But that is the fastest way we're going to create more success for you, literally 10x through your success through the mindset and the strategic work. So send me a DM on Instagram, and I hope this was helpful for you. I know it will be. And start taking the action, guys. Have those tough conversations and realize it is safe for you to expand and create more than people around you have. It just might be a little uncomfortable, and that's okay. We can embrace the discomfort.